We're going to rip off the Band-Aid. We're just going to throw, I don't even know what the word, caution to the wind, the expression is, and just talk about how your 401k could be ripping you off.
Ooh, them's fighting words.
It's a reality though.
Yeah.
And I think that for a lot of people, it's like, well, how do I even find out? How do I even begin to unpack this for one 401k? I mean, I don't have to tell you, John, you've seen the statements. They come in, they've got 10 pages at the back of legalese with all the different combinations of pie charts. Nobody can read those except for you. That's why you're here. Thank you very much. Financial advisor John Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital. Visit us at retirementsolutionsshow.com if you have questions. So many of us do. This is a fun stat. The Pew Research Center released some information, and they were talking about how 1/3 of Americans consult astrologers and tarot card readers regularly, once a year, that is, I should say. And then a MarketWatch.com story talked about how many are using those services to make financial decisions.
Madam Cleo, did you never think that she was the big deal? Come on, people, come look at me. Come talk to Madam Cleo. Oh, come on, these guys. I mean, here's the sad truth. I think that a lot of those tarot card readers are about as good as most stock pickers most of the time. It's sad but true. And of course, you can go back through all the research and find out where chimpanzees with darts were able to throw darts at a board that had stocks on it and outperform active fund managers during the 80s, during the roaring 80s when things were going crazy, right?
Yep.
But it's just how it goes.
So when it comes to our 401ks, though, the problems there. Listen, a 401k is a great tool, but every pro has a con. So let's talk about that, because when it comes to our 401ks, we don't have the investment options that we would in a regular Fidelity account, Charles Schwab account. But this story, there was a 10-year study done.
Yep.
They looked at over 58,000 401k plans.
Which is a lot, right?
That's a lot. That's a big pool. And that they found that many are guilty of underperformance and excessive fees. One plan in particular for a big national airline, apparently they hold more than $2 billion in assets, underperformed by 25%, and charged 64 times more in fees than a comparable benchmark.
64 times the amount of fees is a comparable benchmark. See, guys, I want to unpack this article because I think that this report came out. It was a little bit eye-opening. So number one, I'm always looking. How many did they audit, right? Not 30 plans, not 400 plans. They audited over 58,000 401k plans. So that's the first thing I want to start with. Are they getting good data? Is this representative of everything out there, or is it just a bad group of people? But of this, Heather, this is the one that got me. 99% of these funds were more expensive than if you'd gotten a similar type of investment on your own in your own IRA. Right.
Yep.
And that to me is what I've been saying for a long time, because I've seen it. I've seen so many different account statements from IRA companies like Fidelity and Vanguard and Schwab and used to be TD Ameritrade and all these guys. And I've seen so many different 401ks, national companies, local companies, small companies, mom and pop shops. And the amazing thing is that all of the folks that ever come in with 401k statements, they always tell me how low the fees are in those accounts. And I am always amazed when I actually uncover it, when we do like a 401k x-ray, which we do all the time. We just want to find out what is really happening behind those curtains of that 401k company. And the report found almost identically what we found. 99% are more expensive than if you did it on your own. It's your own IRA, which is what I've been saying for everyone. So number one, before we even get too further, how do we fix that? Well, if you're 59 and a half, you have every right to take that 401k and roll it into your own self-directed IRA. And you can do that at any of the major big custodians, right? So like Schwab or Fidelity or Vanguard, whatever is more important to you. Now, in our firm at J. Hagan Capital, we prefer to use Charles Schwab because they're the largest independent custodian. And I feel like they do an adequate job, because you can almost get any investment under the sun that you want that's usually going to serve a purpose. But the point is that you can do it cheaper by not having it in the 401k. The other thing that they talked about was underperformance. Yep. And without question, that has probably been the biggest complaint I've had against 401ks for the past 10 years. Most of them have, I don't know, let's say 15 to 35 different, things you can invest in. What they have focused on, because they make more money on it, are these idea of target date funds. These are those ones that say like retire life 2025, 2035. They usually have like a year on it in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah.
And what we have found is not only do these horribly underperform, they are often not even remotely close to the risk tolerance of the people that invest in them, which makes them terrible investments for the individual person. Overall, it's easy to say, well, this investment's acceptable. Well, to who? None of the people that are investing in it would think it's acceptable. But unfortunately, the industry has gone that way for more profitability, for less liability, for all of these various reasons. And I think it's a pile of malarkey, to be honest with you. But we don't know any better. We just say, hey, I just want to set it and forget it. I just want to make it easy and just put it in
Yeah.
this and be done and get diversification. Well, if that's what you've been looking for, diversification may be all you've gotten, because you've probably underperformed 20 to 50% over the past decade. And that's what almost every study comes out showing. Target
Okay.
date funds underperform terribly. Now, how do you fix that?
Yeah.
Again, if you're over 59 and a half, roll that 401k, and you don't have to leave your job. You just do
Right.
what they call an in-service withdrawal, and you roll out that 401k and go to any great custodian you want that offers what you want. And guys, it's not just the same type of investments. Most of these other big custodians, they offer hedge funds. You could get cryptocurrency. And again, in no way am I suggesting you should get these things, but I'm just saying they offer so much more than 20 to 30 plain vanilla funds out there that
Mhm.
frankly you could get cheaper anyway. But they offer any number of things other than individual bank CDs and things like that,
Yeah.
treasury bonds, gold bullion, if you want it, right? So all of those things exist, and I think having that opportunity is a lot better. But I think probably the biggest issue with the 401k is that no one knows what they're paying, how it's going to work out in the end, because other than the investments in that account, I have almost never found any company that's advising us, are we taking the appropriate amount of risk? What kind of income can we pull from that? Can we be certain that that income will be there when we retire? And that's probably the biggest travesty, because
Right.
seeing a big old pile of money makes us feel good if we like that number. Ooh, I got 1.1 million. That's pretty sexy. I can't believe I've made all this money. I'm a genius. Ha ha. Pat me on the back. But then we find out that 1.1 million may not even get us close to the retirement that we wanted to envision, right? So we
Wow.
really need different strategies, different styles, and often that requires someone to bounce those ideas off of. Because 1.1 million for one client is very different than it is for someone that's willing to take a different withdrawal strategy, or has a different tax angle, or does a different risk tolerance. They're all very different, but that's what most people need to focus on. It's less about the, hey, look how much money I have, and more on how do I exploit the rules correctly so that I can
Yeah.
get the most, maximize my return on my hard work that I've put in there. That's what most people are missing.
That's why you're here to help point this stuff out to us, John. As you're listening, if you're realizing you need to figure out what the heck's going on in your 401k, John and his team at J. Hagen Capital, they are here to help you do just that. Visit us at retirementsolutionshow.com. That's how you can start the conversation with John and his team. We also have links posted in the show notes, so just click there. Or again, it's retirementsolutionshow.com. You were pointing out fees and
Mm,
problem areas like TDFs. Those are very important big things.
sure.
Speaking on more of a micro level, the work you do at J. Hagen, what are there further things? Is there further and in depth in the portfolio in the 401k X-ray process?
Yeah.
What
So
else do you look for?
when we're doing an x-ray, we want to know everything that's going on. How much risk, how much overlap? Are they invested in the right types of things for what they want to have in the future?
Mhm.
Can they maneuver out of that? Should they do Roth conversion? Should they do backdoor Roth? A lot of 401ks, people are not aware, you can actually do a backdoor mega Roth conversion, potentially put $60,000 into the Roth side in 1 year. People aren't even aware of those things. So
Huh.
when we do an x-ray, we're trying to find out what is going to put the most money in that client's pocket,
Yeah.
taking the least amount of risk, right?
Yep.
that they need to get retired. And that's a big difference than what we find that, any of the 401k providers do, or
Yeah.
frankly any of the big box firms themselves. Most of them aren't looking at tax. They're not looking at the legal aspects. Should we get some of these things out of tax deferred assets into tax free assets or even trust assets? Should we consider using some of these dollars to maybe invest in real estate to earn some Airbnb money on, or VRBO money? Everyone's going to be different. We just want to know that, hey, if that's one of our largest assets, how can we analyze this correctly to know, should we stay in it? Should we diversify more? Or should we pull it out and do something completely different? But unless we know where we are, it's impossible to know which direction that we need to go.
Helping you figure out where you're headed. And you just pointed out, John, the idea of this big asset and housing and all that. Because for most people, when they get to retirement, besides their house, their 401k is very often their biggest asset. Is that
Absolutely.
a
And
correct
people are
assumption?
always wondering, hey, John, should I take some of my 401k money
Yeah.
out and pay my house off? Well,
Yeah.
maybe. Let's look
Maybe.
at the math. I mean, that's the whole thing. It depends. Are
Yeah.
you more freaked out about having to make a monthly mortgage payment? Or are you
Yeah.
more freaked out if you take $80,000 out? How many years did it take you to get that 80 grand in there? 7 or 8 years? Whew.
Yeah.
Do we have another 7 or 8 for that to come back? Maybe, maybe not. But everyone's going to be different. And those things are granular. The biggest thing is, what is going to be the best macro solution for what you want to accomplish? Everyone's different.
And to your point, though, at 59 and a half, you get so much freedom as
Absolutely.
far as what your options are. So if you're wondering how to do better with your 401k, what your options are now that you are 59 and a half, and what you can do as far as better moves go for your financial future, let's start that conversation with John and his team. RetirementSolutionShow.com is where to do it. We also have links posted in the show notes. Is your 401k ripping you off? Well, let's stop that. Stop. Make the land stop screaming, John.
Absolutely. I know.
RetirementSolutionRadio.com. Let's begin the conversation for you.